Your physical health is your vehicle of longevity and sustainability. But as we get older, how motivated are older adults across America to maintain an active and vibrant lifestyle when it comes to exercise and running towards a goal of longevity, prosperity, and happiness? I'll return to that notion in just a moment with a inspirational story of encouragement and perseverance. But first, I wanted to share some notable facts from the National Council on Aging across America. Older adults aged 65 or older are one of the fastest growing groups of our population, according to the council, and it's expected to reach an estimated total of 80.8 million by the year 2040. Meanwhile, the council also reports there were approximately 55.7 million older adults aged 65 and older living in America in 2020. That includes 30.8 million women and 24.8 million men. Today, older adults are healthier overall and living independently for longer. However, that's not to say that many older adults do not deal with at least one chronic health condition. In fact, many adults, according to the council, deal with multiple health concerns. In 2020 alone, the top chronic health condition that was faced by adults 65 and older was arthritis by a tally of 47%, followed by cancer, a diagnosis of diabetes, and COPD. So, with this intrinsic information in the back of your minds, I want to introduce you to and tell you the story of Barry Karch, who says it's never too late to start running to live a long and healthier life. He's on a mission to help people get motivated to outrun Father Time. Here's what you need to know about Barry. He was an avid runner around 40. He competed in lots of races, including 1 mile to marathons. However, he did eventually suffer burnout. He stopped racing for 20 years, and as a result, he gained 35 pounds and kept asking himself what was he going to do about the extra weight. But he was never motivated to take action until he hit his 60s, and then everything changed. I won't spoil it anymore for you, because Karch joined me this week to tell me how we can all use our own intrinsic motivation to get in the best shape of our lives and outrun Father Time. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Barry, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, and I'm super excited to learn all about your personal health and fitness journey, and thanks so very much for being here, my friend.
Sure, let's do it.
Absolutely. Now, Barry, I know that you were an avid runner in your 40s and you've even completed some marathons as well. And you found that to be a significant part of your life. And then you stopped for about 20 years and then you started up again, my friend. So I find that sort of a fascinating trajectory. So I'm wondering if you can tell me about that process, your life, and how you got to where you are today, my friend.
Okay, Kevin. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And I certainly never expected to be back running again and doing what I'm doing, but I'll tell you how I got here. Um, I'm a late bloomer, I guess. I never participated in sports in school. It wasn't that I was unathletic. I was average athletic ability, nothing special, just a average person, really. But I never participated in anything. And then I think my father-in-law started having some health issues. He started having problems with his heart when I was in my later 30s. And that's what got me into running to begin with. I thought probably a good idea if I start to take care of myself and get my heart in shape, get in good cardio condition so that I could live healthy as long as possible. So I started running when I was in my middle to later 30s. Never ran before that. So as I said, I'm kind of a late bloomer at this. And I was just running on my own, going pretty easy. And I happen to really like pizza a lot. So I went to this corner pizza parlor in my neighborhood. And you're probably wondering, what does pizza have to do with running? Well, in my case, it had a lot to do with it because I got to know the owner of the pizza parlor. And it turns out he was an avid runner. And we talked a lot. And next thing you know, we started running together. And then we started training for races all of a sudden. So I became a little bit more serious runner. And we trained for about 5 years. We trained quite intensely. We ran races, everything from 1 mile races to 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and I did 8 marathons. So we ran all kinds of races. Then, as you mentioned, I stopped for about 20 years, stopped racing. And here I am again, running again and starting to race again 20 years later.
Oh, well, that's certainly a roller coaster of a curve, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's been interesting. And like I said, never expected to be here, but I'm glad to be.
Yeah, Barry, you tell me that you don't think it's ever too late to start running to live a healthier life. So, what would be your message to older adults who would consider maybe taking this up? And why do you think other people should value their health even at an older age, my friend?
Well, I tell you what, Kevin, you should value your health, especially at an older age, because you don't have as much life left when you're older. And if you want to live longer and healthier, I don't want to just be alive. I want to be healthy and be able to do things and be active with my life. So it's so important to take care of yourself, to try to get in good shape. And so many people, as they get older, they tend to become more sedentary. It's very easy to sit on the couch, watch TV, get a little lazier, I guess you could say. And next thing you know, your health goes down. You put on weight, your health goes down. You can't be as active. And then you might end up ruining the quality of your life or shortening your lifespan. So it's especially important for older people to get active, to be healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barry, I'm curious about your motto in life. Is there sort of a motto that inspires you to live life and maximize its potential each and every day?
Kevin, I don't know so much as a motto, but I have what I call a big why. Like, why am I doing this? And you need to have a big why to get yourself out of bed or off the couch, because it's easier not to run, right? It's easy just to stay sedentary, comfortable. Why do you want to push yourself and get out there and run and maybe be a little uncomfortable for some time? Why wouldn't you rather just sit on the couch and watch TV or enjoy yourself? So I like to flip that question on its head and say, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I want to run? Why wouldn't I want to be healthy? Why wouldn't I want to live a long and healthy life? Why wouldn't I want to be active? Why wouldn't I want to be able to keep up with younger people? So my big why that always gets me up and going is I want to live a long and healthy life. So I'm like anybody else. I'm not immune to not wanting to run. There's lots of days I don't want to run. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I ache. Just like everybody else, I have all that. But when I'm laying in bed in the morning and I don't feel like running, that's where your big why comes into play. And it could be different for different people. But for me, yeah, I want to live a long and healthy life. So I think that laying in bed, I want to live a long and healthy life. Yes, the bed is warm and comfortable. It'd be nice to stay in bed longer and sleep longer, but I'd rather live a long and healthy life. And so I get up every single time. And I always feel much better about it after I've done it too. It's a great feeling to get out there and accomplish something, especially when you don't feel like doing it. It's that much sweeter.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Barry, I'm a big believer in the power of the thinking of resilience, my friend, because, at the age of 9, Barry, I was told by a doctor that I wouldn't be able to walk without assistance for the duration of my life because of the severity of my cerebral palsy. I was born with a form of cerebral palsy that doesn't give me enough oxygen in my legs to walk normally. And, I'm a big believer that resilience, my friend, is the answer to the test of adversity. So how do you think we can use resilience in life to overcome adversity?
You know what? That's how you grow and improve, is to be resilient and to face those challenges you have head on. And everyone has different challenges. So I'm glad to hear that you overcame and fought what the hand you were dealt. That's awesome. That's fantastic. But yes, you've got to be resilient to grow, to get better, to improve. Everything is about pushing a little harder, not giving in, getting out of your comfort zone, and not necessarily listening to the limitations other people put on you, but doing what you feel that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Barry, as you know, as we get older, our health, if we don't take care of it, we get certain health conditions if we're not active as we get older, as you know. So I'm curious, what do you think is a blueprint to motivate other people to really take ownership of their own health?
You know what? A lot of people put so much effort into their careers, their work, and are super smart, but they don't put any effort into their health. And when you think about it, I know it's a cliche, but without your health, you don't have anything. If you're not healthy, what is your money worth? What is your work worth if you can't do anything? So your health is your foundation for everything. And that's how I look at it. And as an older person now, I enjoy it more than when I was younger. I love running more now, and I'm much more grateful. I think I took it for granted when I was younger that I was able to do it and didn't really think much about it. But now that I'm older, I don't take it for granted at all. I start every one with gratitude. I'm thankful that I have the ability to do it. I'm thankful that I'm able to get out the door, and just getting started in the run. I love seeing the sunrise. I love hearing the birds chirp, seeing the trees, just thankful for being alive. And to people who can't run, you don't have to run. Just do something to get active. Start with walking. Start with an elliptical machine. Start on a exercise bike. Whatever. Start with swimming. Whatever appeals to you, whatever you're able to do, start with that. But just get active and do something.
Yeah, Barry, I challenge myself every day to be at least 10 minutes active because as a result of my disability, my muscles contract faster. So as my grandmother tells me all the time, if I don't use my muscles, I lose them, right? So I try to stay active, and creating that mindset is so important, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'm a firm believer also in the use it or lose it philosophy. So yeah, you're absolutely, I agree with you 100%. You've got to keep those muscles active or you're going to lose them.
Well, if you don't, you won't be able to outrun Father Time, right?
That's right. That's right. And Father Time's not going to stop. He's after you.
Well, it's the only thing in sports and in life that's undefeated, Barry, right?
Yes. So the goal is to stay ahead of him as long as possible.
Absolutely. And Barry, I'm fascinated to ask you, how do you define fitness prosperity?
Fitness prosperity. I think that's being able to perform at your potential, whatever that may be. And again, it can be any form of fitness, but just something up to your potential that you feel good about. You feel happy with your accomplishments and what you're able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barry, I'm curious to ask you, when you began running after all of that time off, outside of your personal family situation, what motivated you from an internal perspective to get back into the game of health, fitness, and running? What motivated you personally?
I'll tell you what, Kevin, as I mentioned, I ran a lot in my upper 30s to early 40s, and I just got burned out. I just couldn't do it anymore. We trained so hard all the time, every day. We never took an easy day. And I just got burned out. So I stopped the racing for 20 years. Problem was, as I mentioned earlier, I ran 8 marathons. I kept eating like a marathoner, even though I stopped running them. So I have a horrible sweet tooth also. I was eating too much, and I was eating a pretty good amount of ice cream and candy, along with the pizza and pasta and everything else I like. So I put on, over those 20 years, I put on 35 pounds over the weight I ran at. And every time I went to the doctor, my weight was up, continuously going up. And I was always asking myself, when are you going to do something about this? But I never cared enough. I enjoyed the food more than the excess weight bothered me. So it really never bothered me enough to get motivated to do something about it. Until finally, when I hit my 60s, I told myself, it's now or never. If you want to live a long and healthy life, you need to make a lifestyle change now, or it's going to be too late. And so I think just getting older finally woke me up. It took me a long, long time to do that, but I did change my diet. I took off all the weight that I'd put on. I felt so much better about it, so much better about myself and how I looked. And I didn't expect to be running again. This was not planned. But one day, my wife asked me, she says, are you going to ever do any races again? And I actually had never really thought about it. And after she asked me, I said, well, I guess I will. Why not? Let me see, what I can do now. I hadn't done a race in 20 years. So I did a 5K, which is 3.1 miles. And I guess one of the benefits of being older is you don't have as much competition in the races as you do when you're younger. And so I ran the 5K and I ended up getting first place in my age group, which was a huge motivator and sense of accomplishment for me coming back from 20 years off. And I found I liked the challenge. And then I did a half marathon after that. Now I'm training for a marathon. I'm going to be running that in about 6 weeks. And I also did a really big mountain hiking event about 2 months ago, where we hiked the equivalent vertical ascent of Mount Everest. And so I just found I get a kick out of being able to do this now, being older. I love the challenge and I just love doing these things. And I'm just amazed that I'm able to do them now at this age. And in some cases, as well as people younger than me, which just is a big motivator for me.
Yeah, that was part of my next question. I'm a big believer in self-motivation and setting their own standard of expectations, Barry, because if you can't sort of reach the level of your own personal expectations, it's hard to sort of get motivated to reach an artificial level of somebody else's. So I'm curious for you, when you look at the concept of self-motivation and taking action steps to take control of your life, what do you think is the key to getting self-motivated?
You need that big why that I mentioned earlier. Why do you want to do this? And it can be fitness, it could be anything in life, but you need that big why to be the driver. And you have to really want it, because it's going to get tough sometimes. And there'll be days you don't want to do it. If you don't have that big why, you're not going to do it. You're going to quit. So it has to be very, very strong. So you need to think to yourself, why do I want to get fit? What is my goal? Do I want to take off weight? Do I want to increase my cardio ability? Do I want to simply look better? Do I want to simply be able to play with my kids or grandkids and not get tired? You just need that big why to keep you motivated and focused on it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you adopt that active lifestyle, you feel much more invigorated, don't you?
I sure do. It's gotten to the point now I don't feel right if I don't do something active every day. I feel like my day's all off, but it becomes addictive. It becomes addictive, and I'm always looking for the new challenge now, the next thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to stay busy and productive, right? Barry, I always say if you're not contributing to progress, individual progress and growth, then you're shortchanging the rest of the world, because no matter how smart you are or how many degrees you have on a wall, you can always learn something from somebody else, can't you?
Absolutely. And I've had so many mentors that have helped me along the way and I've learned from. And let me just mention too, this isn't just about fitness and health, because it carries over to the whole rest of your life. The discipline you learn in sticking with a fitness plan and the sense of accomplishment you get carries over into your work and other aspects of your life. It just makes you that much better at everything else and carrying through and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And Barry, what does it mean to you to maximize personal potential?
To maximize personal potential means to be able to perform to the best of my ability. For example, in the running realm, I know what I'm capable of. I know what good runs are for me, what good times are, and various distance events. And I get great satisfaction when I can perform up to my potential. And you can't always do it. There are times, like anything else, you just don't feel good. You don't feel right. You don't have it a certain day, and you don't perform as well as you want to. But maximizing my potential is on those days when I feel like I have performed up to the best of my ability. You don't have to be a world-class runner. Just use yourself as the standard of what you are capable of doing yourself. And you just compare yourself against that, what you feel like you're capable of doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, I'm someone who believes in the power of setting priorities for the life you want to live. I shared with you earlier that I was born with a disability, but I look at life, Barry, like a standard deck of cards, and we're all sort of given our deck of cards to shuffle in life, and it's incumbent upon all of us to create the life that we want to live or shuffle our proverbial cards. And so I wanted to get your perspective on the idea of priorities and creating good habits and how important that is.
Right, Kevin. And I agree. It's like your life is like a deck of cards. It's a great analogy. And we all have some good cards, and we have some cards that maybe aren't so good or so helpful. Everyone has challenges that they have to overcome. But it's important to do something positive every day to create those good habits, to improve. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. I read a book a while back by Darren Hardy called The Compound Effect. And in the book, he was talking about how just doing little tiny changes, little tiny habits add up over time and lead to big changes in your life. It's not that you have to make a huge change in your life all at once, just a little tiny habit. So again, since we're talking about the health and fitness realm, if you're not exercising at all, maybe you start and just walk or do something for 10 minutes the first day, just to get active and start doing something and go from there, or continue at it, whatever it may be, wherever you're at. But over time, those little habits, you're going to see those big results from them.
Absolutely. And, Barry, I'm fascinated by your story, and I'm also fascinated to ask you, how do you think we can use our unique sort of characteristics in lives, or our unique strengths in life, as a competitive advantage?
Well, everyone has different gifts, like we said in that deck of cards. Everyone has different gifts. Some people may be, again, in the running field that we're talking about, some people may be very athletically gifted, but maybe they don't have the determination or drive, so they don't reach their potential. Whereas someone else might have average ability, but they have that big drive and they don't give up. They keep pushing and pushing. And that's where you can make up the difference. So everyone has those different gifts, and you have to take advantage of what you are given to perform at your best.
Yeah, absolutely. Barry, I'm a big believer in the 3 E's in life, and what the 3 E's in life are, in my view, are energy, effort, and enthusiasm. So I'm curious, why do you think it's important to bring all 3 of those characteristics to life as we move through it?
Great question, Kevin. And let me start on that last one, enthusiasm. I really like that. You only get this one life. We're only going through life one time. So why not be enthusiastic about it and happy? We're so lucky to be here and be alive. It's such a gift just to be on this earth. So I try to treat every day and everything with enthusiasm and not let little trivial things get me down. I think enthusiasm is the key to everything. And I always try to be positive. I try to take in positive inputs in my life. I listen to positive podcasts, positive music, read positive books to keep that enthusiasm up and keep a good outlook on life, because it's easy to get down, right? Everyone has their problems, their challenges. You put on the news, you hear about everything else going on all over the place, usually negative stuff all the time. It's very easy not to be positive or have enthusiasm. So that enthusiasm you mentioned, I think, is super important and the foundation of everything. If you have the enthusiasm, then you're going to perform better at whatever it is we're talking about, be it running, be it your career, be it in your family. It's just so important to have that enthusiasm.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Barry, when we talk about fitness equity and equality, what do you think that means in a larger scale? And how can we create more opportunities for fitness equity and equality for underrepresented groups, folks with disabilities, or people that need to make health a higher priority in their lives? So, in your view, how do we create more equitable fitness opportunities?
You know what? I think running is probably one of the most equitable sports. The barrier of entry to get into it is very little. All you need is a pair of running shoes, really. So it doesn't take a lot of money to get into it, first of all. And what's really neat about it is when you get out there and start running, everyone's just a runner. I've met people from all walks of life. I've met people who are everyone from entrepreneurs to doctors, lawyers, business owners, to people working at minimum wage or going to school. But when you're out running, everyone's just a runner. And it doesn't matter your background, who you are. I see people from all over the world, all walks of life, and we all have the same challenges. We're going through the same things. We're all running the same course. If we're running together, we're taking on the same hills, the same distance. It makes no difference. So that's what's really neat about it. You get to know everybody on a different level. And for those that might have a physical disability, there are lots of races open to people in wheelchairs, or I also know people who have pushed their kids who couldn't move at all on wheelchairs as they run the race themselves, and they do races together that way. And that's been incredible too, very inspiring. So I think it's open to everybody. Everyone can do this, and everyone is pretty much just a runner out there. It doesn't really matter your background.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Barry, one thing that running also does is build what I call social capital and build that community of support. And that's one of the reasons I started this podcast. Sometimes because of the nature of my disability, that it's harder for me to make in-person social connections. So as a way to get around that, I started this podcast. So I'm wondering your thoughts on the importance of building social capital or that community of support, because I know running is a great vehicle to do that, isn't it?
It is, Kevin. It's an outstanding way to build a community. I'm in a local running group, and we meet up for group runs on the weekends, which is great. And then if you do events out of town, you can connect up with the people that you run into on social media. Sometimes stay friends with them for years, or just even if you don't go out of town, you can join up various social media running groups. There's all kinds of groups for that, and you can meet different people there. And it's definitely a community because we're all going through the same thing. We're all have the same challenges, the ups, the downs, all trying to get better, all trying to improve. And it's great encouragement. It's just, it's been a great community, and you meet up a lot of people just that have the drive that you do yourself. And it's just, it's been a fun experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Barry, my final question for you this afternoon has to do with legacy and how you want your personal and professional legacy to be defined.
Well, let's see. I would like to be remembered as a kind, helpful person that helped encourage other people and was very positive. I try to always be positive on all aspects of life. On running, I always try to encourage my fellow runners and tell them they're doing a great job, looking good, or just a smile or a wave as I see somebody. And same thing on other aspects of life and career and so forth. I always try to encourage everybody to get better, reach your potential, create those good habits, and just make the world a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, Barry, I know you host a podcast, and I know that building that community is important to you. So tell me about the podcast, and finally, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, Kevin, thanks for asking. Once I got back into running again, I was so enthusiastic about it and found I was loving it so much, and so much more now than when I was younger, that I created a podcast just to share the joy of running and encourage other people. And it's called Running for Your Life. And it's about how to run and get fit to lead a long and healthy life and outrun Father Time. And on the show, I do some solo episodes and talk about mindset. And I also have other positive, encouraging guests that have done pretty amazing things just to get everybody else to know what's possible and maybe think of different things that they could do also. So yeah, check out the Running for Your Life podcast, and you can find me there or else on Instagram to connect also. I'm there too. It's Barry, Barry _S _Karch, Karch. That's my handle on Instagram.
Well, fabulous. Barry, I'm better for spending some time with you this afternoon and inspired to create a more equitable path forward through athletics, life, and everything in between, my friend. You're a fascinating person, and I want to thank you for taking a few minutes to engage in conversation with me. It's most appreciated.
Well, Kevin, thanks for having me on. It was such a thrill to get the invitation. And I tell you what, you're a very inspiring person too, and you're doing great stuff. So keep it up.